I remember very clearly the morning of 9/11.
That day is pretty vivid.
I remember walking out of the house with my roommates that morning and remarking that it was such a beautiful day.
September 11th was the first day of leave that I had had in 9 months.
I had just dropped my kids off at preschool.
I was in 10th grade history class when I heard about 9/11.
You remember, sitting in a meeting, doing the government's work, and someone's cell phone beeper kept going off, and it was his wife. His wife was telling them what was going on because we had no idea we were in a meeting. And eventually we stopped our meeting, went downstairs into the factory cafeteria where there was a TV. And by that time, the first tower had already come down.
I was sitting at my desk and somebody had walked in and said a plane had crashed into one of the towers in New York, and my initial thought was, well, maybe it was just a Cessna that gotten off course or doing something stupid.
Someone had a TV on and they had the now iconic image of the first tower with the smoking hole in the side of it. I can still remember watching the aircraft hit the second tower and watching both towers fall and watching live news coverage of the events as it was happening and feeling the surprise and the anger as to why did this happen.
I kind of freaked out, and then right after that there was the breaking news that a plane had flown into the Pentagon, and I had several friends working at the Pentagon, and it was scary. So I immediately said I have to hang up the phone, I have to call, see where everybody is. My husband at that time was a project officer. He had lots of meetings up at the Pentagon. So it just kind of, the realization that this was not far from home. It's important to remember that, freedom isn't free, and, people give their lives every day so that we can enjoy the luxuries that we have as Americans.
I think to a large extent it's made our world more complex. There's far less cut and dried issues.
I think it really just brought home to the United States the uncertainty of the world.
There's people that aren't home, they're away from their families, they're over in Afghanistan or they're on ships, and they're doing it because, not because they get paid a lot of money, but they're doing it because of service to the country.
There was a newfound appreciation for how willing is a bad word, but how ready the other services were, and firemen and policemen, and to knowing that every single time you leave the safe confines, you're putting your life on the line.
Still have the feeling of, you can't believe it happened, and when it did, I had that, for the first time ever, that feeling of, I don't feel safe. I was very proud of how our country came together. Being able to be a very small part of just making it easier for them, making their job easier so that they do return home safely.
I think since Avian is so veteran heavy, I think there's that same commitment apparent here throughout Avian, with Avian's leadership and Avian's members. Even those who weren't veterans still, I think, share in that commitment and that teamwork to contribute to our nation's defense and that sense of purpose.
As I said before, we're an incredibly patriotic organization. I think we all have the same values and the beliefs, just like the military does.
Well, I think the sense of purpose is very important because it makes the job something a bit more than just a paycheck. You're contributing something more to something larger than yourself.
We come to work focused on the warfighter, trying to answer that question, what have we done for him or her today to make their life simpler, to help that effort out.
In a bigger sense, the engineers over, in the program offices, how everything they do is to make the warfighter safer, to upgrade their capabilities, the technology, so that they can do the best job they can possibly do.
That everybody has that same focus of making sure that the Navy is a better place.
I would say because of the events of 9/11 and what's transpired over the last 13 years, since that event, we as a community within avian, within the defense world, now understand the value of what we do every day.
You know, being able to be a very small part of just making it easier for them, making their job easier so that they do return home safely.
It really has an impact on the people that are continuing to defend our country to this day after 9/11.